Hello, Florida Justice Association, and happy St. Patrick's Day. This is the end of the second week of the 2017 legislative session, and we had another very exciting week here in Tallahassee. Two of our main victories that I want to tell you about this week that were extremely nerve-wracking and very exciting. The most important one, I think, being our victory on the workers' compensation bill that was up in the House Insurance and Banking Committee last week. The bill is a comprehensive package of workers' compensation reform. It preserves much of the reasonable attorney fee issue that the Florida Supreme Court recently held made the bill constitutional. However, there was a proposed amendment that would have totally eliminated insurance carrier paid attorney's fees for workers' compensation claimants. I'm pleased to report that after a fierce battle, that amendment was defeated by a vote of 8-7 in the subcommittee. That bill now moves on, and we're very hopeful that a workers' compensation comprehensive reform bill that will benefit all the injured workers of this state will eventually pass this session. Another victory we had this week was in the Senate Transportation Committee. A senator tried to amend onto a bill an amendment regarding robot cars that would have established a very dangerous precedent in regard to the liability for robot cars. After testimony by your President-elect, Dale Swope, that amendment was defeated in the Senate Transportation Committee. There were lots of other action this week and action that we expect to come up next week. I'm pleased to report that bills have now been filed in both the House and the Senate to establish mandatory bodily injury liability at limits of $25,000 per person, $50,000 per incident. Former Senate President Tom Lee is the sponsor of that legislation in the Senate, and FJA member Representative Aaron Grahl is the sponsor in the House. We're hoping that both of those bills begin moving soon in their respective chambers. On Monday of next week, we are pleased to report that a good bill that would establish civil liability for human trafficking will be heard in the House Civil Justice and Claims Committee on Monday afternoon. We're hopeful that more good bills will be heard next week as the House and Senate continue to put out their agendas. Again, last week we were also pleased to have the FJA's Women's Caucus join us in Tallahassee. Many of our prominent women trial lawyers were here to help lobby the issues and help us lead to the successes that we had. Next week is Young Lawyers Week, and we're looking forward to many of our young trial lawyers coming to Tallahassee to help us lobby the important issues that will be coming up next week. With that, I would also ask that if you have any time on your calendar in the next several weeks, the session will last until the first week in May. If you have time to come to Tallahassee for a couple of days during the middle of the week to help us lobby, we will always welcome you and train you and explain to you how you can help us get our job done and augment our lobby corps here in Tallahassee. Also, if you or your firm would like to sponsor any of our lobby team lunches that we have to discuss strategy during the middle of these legislative weeks, please contact Lynn McCartney at the Florida Justice Association to let her know that you'd be available to do that. Again, thank you, members of the Florida Justice Association, for all you do. Without your help, we would not be able to have the successes that we are having. I'm Interim Executive Director Paul Jess, and again, thank you for all you do for the cause of justice.